that hadn't played Dust 2 coming into this tournament, so they actually showed quite a lot of their D-half. They could have just had it done and kept that element of mystery,
Yep.
but they ended up playing through. However, we don't have Dust 2 in this best of 3.
Luckily, though.
It's Overpass, Nuke, and Mirage, I believe, are the 3 maps.
Exactly. It's nice to get a bit of a variance to it all. As we see the boost here on the CT side that has had an excellent game here on Dust 2 versus 5Power. Definitely one of the leading forces to get them that win.
On both sides too, but with the pistols, he is going to be cordoned off for the time being. They've pretty much given up B control as Grayhound going to have a 5v5 retake coming up against them. There is a kit and a few grenades to play with, but nothing too healthy. Cast point blank, 3 Glock headshots. Just destroys Avant where they stand. And the rest is going to be a formality for Grayhound. Excellent start.
Exactly what they wanted. And well, shouting's already begun here from Neil. Grayhound were pretty silent in their first matchup. Obviously, they were pretty hefty favorites going up against Energy. Now they get to play versus domestic rivals and whatnot. So we might see the decibel levels rise a little bit. We did see some shouting about from Avant at times versus 5Power. Maybe it gets a little bit lively here. And yeah, just kind of extend on the point that Blood was talking about on the desk as well. This map, Vito, couldn't really have gone much better for Grayhound in terms of what their comfort picks are. Overpass and Nuke. It's kind of unfortunate for Avant in that sense that they end up in a situation where some of their better maps, just statistically speaking, happen to coincide with what Grayhound likes to play.
I actually briefly had a conversation with Jira just before this game started, you know, with some nosebleed situation. Apparently he is struggling with the flu right now.
Ah, so when you runny nose.
Yeah, runny nose, and his nose was bleeding too. So he's not feeling 100%, which is never a great sign when it's your in-game leader that's under the weather.
Very true. He was dealing pretty well with it, though.
Yeah.
Looking into Dust 2.
Sometimes had the secondary AWP alongside Sterling, so it could be interesting to see how that pans out as well.
Absolutely. For now, though, Grayhound Gaming going into this one with less SMGs than, well, I say less SMGs, a bit of a different variety of SMGs than what they had in the first game versus Energy. So far, the results seemingly the same, though. Pistol's doing a whole lot of work here. Grayhound, we said they had a couple of hiccups initially, and, well, they continue. Sicko down to a 1v4. Hazard's on low HP, but again, you don't really fancy his chances in this one. So they run into the meat grinder. Get heavily punished as well. Hazard will fall, but a whole lot of work to be done. And accurate pistol shooting from the side of Avant. So shouting commences again. Now it's back the other way around.
It is 2 Australian teams facing against each other, so there's going to be some sort of brotherly rivalry kicking off as well.
We got a couple of Kiwis in there as well, so who knows? Maybe we got like a, what's it called? Like the haka?
Oh, is that
the Old Blacks do?
The rugby.
Yeah.
Rugby dance thing.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the haka, I think. That would be so dope, actually, if we get a full New Zealand squad to do hakas before, like if they do a stage match at a major or something. I live for that stuff. I guess a 5-man haka probably doesn't have the same kind of impact as an entire rugby squad, but still.
Plus, you know, CS players as opposed to big buff rugby players, not quite the same presence.
I mean, you know, all of you can stomp, right?
Either way, Grayhound going to be forcing up this round, seeing if they can return the favor with the pistols. Well, so far so good. Dick Stacy will claim the first kill of the round. Hazard is sent reeling. As you say, he is one of the star players. He's one of the guys that was going pretty huge on Dust 2. It's a big scalp to take. Jira, the back of the site, does a lot of damage, but can't yield a frag from it. There we go. Makes amends. Dick Stacy is sent away from the site for the time being, trying to swat this away as best as they can. Damage being inflicted onto both teams. Now the deagle opening up. Malta goes to task. 2 players very low on the side of Grayhound, while Jira has now been finished off by Urcast. This is starting to get dangerous now for Avant. They're taking damage through the smoke. Try to pre-fire around the corner of the truck, but didn't quite land. So they may think this position is cordoned off and safe. Grayhound are so very low. Any bullets through this smoke could yield a kill at this stage for the CTs. But instead it's going to be the terrorists that are chipping in. Dexter goes in with his Desert Eagle. Sterling's going to try and make the most of this smoke, getting around the backside. Finds one, but that's down to Dexter. And Sterling will claim both, but there's not enough time.
So right back we go. Grayhound being able to make the most out of their pistols, submit themselves around again. Yeah, Urkus being able to tuck himself into the corner behind Optimus there. Really just buying time, also finding extra frags, doing damage. An opening here from Dick Stacy, solid as ever. See how low HP they're working on that entire time. Dexter down to 10 HP, gets tagged down to 2. A lot of small margins go in the way of Grayhound there for them to bring it right back, and that's also a pretty significant detriment. Sterling does stay alive, so he's going to have an M4, but outside of that, it's pistols on the set of Avant.
Yeah, it was that smoke at the end. At one point, looked like it would favor the CTs to re-engage on the site, and then it quickly worked against them because the two terrorists played it so perfectly with their pistols.
It really did, and Dexter sneaking through the smoke, basically spreading themselves apart so they don't get double tagged down. It impossible for Sterling to win it out, but we'll see. We're able to do it once. Maybe they can do it 2 times as well. Utility goes down just to clear out any sort of corners, and this time it's not the same kind of a stack that Grayhound could potentially run into, but as it still has a deagle. Spots Dexter, not going to take a fight. Decides to reposition his angle.
It's one of those rounds where they know that Avant very likely have force sport with pistols, angles like connector and bathroom.
Oh, these tags.
Chunk of damage through the smoke, isn't it? Malta also took damage earlier, so HP actually favoring the CTs again.
Yeah, this also makes the, I mean, it puts them inside a pistol range as well, right? So
yeah.
Becomes that much scarier. Being able to do so much damage early on before Grayhound gets close to bomb site, and they don't have smokes.
They don't have time either, man. 25 seconds.
One smoke's gone down, and that's pretty much all they have. They need to be accurate as they make their way up towards the B-bomb site.
Sterling from the side. And it's looking like they're going to be able to repel this push. Erode the oncoming terrorists. 10 seconds to go. Galil and AK going to have to step up massively. Bomb going to be starting to get planted, but there's a small gap. Oh, Sicko! Bodyguarding APOC going to spin around, and they're going to get the round going their way. That looked like it was slipping ever so quickly out of control, but such huge plays by Sicko.
That was so dicey. If APOC has pretty much any other pistol than the Deagle in that situation, he probably denies the bomb plant, and that's round over in favor of Avant. Yeah, but that is dicey for Gran, and we saw it in the first game as well versus Energy. They definitely had some moments for concern in that one. We figured that was kind of just them going through the motions, but we also mentioned the fact that better teams will punish them, and they're, well, treading the line right now. Now, though, full pistols. Altus playing this as safe as can be, but still going to get punished. And Urkus, oh, he thought about it. Oh, still going to dive in. Does so successfully as well.
He doesn't mind if he goes down as an expendable gun. He's got 3 kills already, so his bank balance is starting to skyrocket. Can just trade up for the AK next round.
APOC down to 16 HP. Doesn't really have too much of a shot of finding anything here. He needs to, yeah, luck into Urkus. He's now picked up an AK as well, so. Actually giving the MAC-10 over to Sicko so he can start running after people. APOC might actually just stand near the bomb, see if he can tap it, as he's mentioned on Dust too, right? Like, see if he can bait someone into explosion area. Exactly. Very unlikely to happen, though. Flash goes out, so just got to try his luck. Needs to tap it, though, for this to be effective. But Dick Stacy in position to deal with it. And again, the bomb blast radius here on Overpass isn't too significant either, so would have been fine regardless.
Yeah, Flash kind of gave it away, but at the same time, he may have been thinking, I don't want to die with a flashbang and just give an extra $200 across. But either way.
That's very min-max. Yeah. So 4-1 early lead for Grayhound Gaming. Now, though, count guns on the CT side and all up in the hands of Sterling. This is where they can begin to mount their CT string of rounds, at least hopefully for their end. A bit of an orthodox setup here as well. Sterling posted up in stairs, but the op has it right below him to cover off underpass, but that means that they have 0 eyes on long. I'd be curious to see if this is going to be a bit of a mainstay setup from them or not.
Ooh.
Nice entry from Dexter there. Soju didn't really have time to react at all.
Didn't know what hit him. Instantly pinged in the head. Sterling.
Oh, speaking of getting pinged in the head.
Oh dear.
Rapidly falling apart. Has been able to find Urkus, but that was the throwaway Mac 10, so not going to be too worried about that. We got some information as well as to where one of the 3 remaining players are.
All rested on Jira. Could have got a kill. There was some way back in for Avant as it stands. I mean, eyeing up a 5-1 deficit. You've just gone in for a full buy. You maybe just want to save these 2 M4s. You don't have a kit to come back on the site with.
Yeah, you don't really stand too much to gain from going for this.
Especially now. Yeah, that's...
Easy cleanup for Grayhound there. As you said, yeah, Jared needed to find at least 1 frag. But it's good to see from the side of Grayhound as well. They commit to the bomb site. They don't immediately run for the plant. They want to make sure that the bomb site is completely cleared before they actually attempt to get that down, because they know they have the time to play with. Now wait. Get a pretty easy bomb take. 5-1 pistols once more for the CT side, and could be a bit of a run here from Grayhound. I mean, we've seen Avant having their fair share of dominant first halves. See if Grayhound's going to be living up to that task as well. Once again, it's Dexter over towards the B bomb side outside of Monster. He is also the in-game leader. We've seen that actually being a bit of a trend for a lot of teams at times, having the in-game leader as a pretty much solo lurk over towards the opposite side of the map, oftentimes over towards Monster, peering for short, seeing what kind of information it can gain. You have to be fairly active in that kind of a spot. Dick Stacy's going to find the first kill onto Jira. That's, well, the entirety of the defense gone. Not that they know that already, but rotations are going to have to be made from the side of the CTs.
They sure are, and without any connector control, they can't be sure that Grayhound are even going for A at this point. They could still dart back to B, still plenty of time left. And the concern for Avant will be that, yeah, we got around, but it was off the back of a force buy. Not really anything that you can stick a great deal of faith on. Smoke's now being deployed, locking off Dumpster. Bank is still open. Sterling's there, but there's a Molotov to greet him, so it's going to force him to turn tail. This is going to yield a bomb plant.
Hey, Buck with the set nade for the bomb. Double nade, actually.
Oh,
Nicely done.
nice.
Nice touch.
In terms of the round, it should still be going the way of Grayhound, but some damage being inflicted by APOC now. Dexter needs to click some heads. Not quite up to the task to get 2, so this is being a costly round already. Avant able to claim a few. Double nade. Pretty
Really doing
slick
his
stuff.
work. Absolutely. I feel like you don't see that enough. Obviously, if you've already lost control of the bomb side, obviously it depends heavily on your team having nades available, but being able to set up for things like that, when you need to work on a retake, again, it buys time for you. Buys the bomb plant. Again, if this would have been, I guess, a classic Navi take, right? You've got 10 seconds left on the bomb. Things like that can easily spiral around out of control.
Yeah, I think it's something rare because typically, unless you're in an eco sort of round, you're using your nades proactively earlier in the round, you know. You're trying to maybe keep control of bathroom or take connector control or something like that. So it is certainly a rarer play that you see come in, but I like the idea.
Absolutely. Well then, double ops in play for the first time for Avant. Saw Jira working his magic over towards mid on Dust 2. Now posted up towards short and water.
Multiple targets, but Jira is going to pierce Malta out of the round. Can't flick across. Dexter 1-for-1 trade. So Avant do take the advantage. One of the first times that we've been able to say that on this half. Let's see if they can convert it, though. They desperately need to start getting some rounds on the board.
Still a lot of time on the side of Grayhound, though, to shimmy back and forth between sites. They have the utility they need as well. 2 smokes, Molotov, and a whole lot of flashes. They can set up for any sort of execute they want, really. Like they want to set their eyes over towards A.
Is running low again, though, Van. This has been a reoccurring theme. And whereas before it was against pistols and they can get those entries, now you got double AWPs.
Oh,
And there's
good
one
timing.
of them. Sterling peeks up from bank. Gonna reap the rewards with a kill. Does get smoked off. But again, there's such little room for error. A terrorist being carved as they try to aggressively get across to the site. 10 seconds to go. And Hazza is going to yield Avant their second round. But this is where the consistency needs to come in, Van. They can't afford to lose right away.
Absolutely, especially with the double up setup. That's so expensive.
Sure.
See the updated odds from GG.bet. Grayhound still significantly favored. No surprises there, really. And I mean, added to the fact that they're 6 rounds in on their T side already. It's looking pretty good for them. But yeah, as you said, this might be where Avant starts to make a bit of a stand.
And when you look across to the funds on Grayhound, actually only 2 of them have a bit of money to play with. So this could be them back into an eco sort of round. Soju up close with APOC with a spray. Excellent holds. Only losing APOC in the process. Just what they were looking for.
Soju with the battle cry as well. That's a successful B hold. As you said, yeah, not a whole lot of money to go around on the side of ground, even with the string of rounds they had going for him.
It was a good read. They had 3 players stacked there with crossfires established. So
Yeah,
really,
Sterling as well with the aggressive off peak.
yeah. A step ahead of Grayhound perhaps, and now it's Desert Eagles. Almost a full decoat. Rest in peace, Dexter.
Yeah. Now, I've seen Avant throw out 2 different variations to that Molotov over towards playground area. One that obviously initially is going to be to hold them off from just getting out towards Fountain and whatnot, and one to just section off the playground entrance entirely. Probably depending on what kind of spawn they have, what they throw out. Seeing if they can't really have the spawn to prevent anyone from running through initially, then they're better off setting down the playground Molotov and basically locking down the T-sides into one area of the map. Sterling's going to miss a chance to find 1 frag, but still just Deagle going around. Doesn't miss the second opportunity.
Bit fortunate he didn't get peeked from long at that moment because he would have been very vulnerable. Does spot the jump across from Sicko, who's now the last remaining terrorist. How much damage can he inflict on his inevitable way out?
Just wants to bait out a shot, but Sterling's quick to adjust. All right, Soju's doing his best to keep the spirits high as well.
It's definitely a meme-worthy picture right there.
Absolutely. I like to see it. There's going to be a bit of a shouting match between them. I'm assuming the one from ground that's going to be activated the most by that is Neil, though.
He's quite the character, isn't he?
Absolutely. A very emotional guy as well. For those who missed, I guess, his previous bouts on the stage as well. We saw him during one of the Star Series in Kiev behind Imperial. Pretty much biting his nails as games were unfolding. See some solid shooting out of Hazza. Had a great Dust 2 performance and starting off pretty decently here on Overpass as well.
Yeah, it was looking incredibly sketchy at the beginning. Was what, 6-1?
Yeah.
At one stage, and now 6-4. I mean, they're still definitely not out of the woods just yet. But 11-5 Sterling. He has a point to prove himself, by the way. He used to play for Grayhound, of course.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Doing his part so far, though. With the clean round wins that Avant have found for themselves as well, that means that they can also reinvest into double op setups if they were to lose a round, which is pretty big for them.
This is a double op setup that we were discussing earlier with Jira taking the second. Definitely can be powerful on the Mirage CT side, but can be susceptible to being charged down and rushed. While he's being tossed out, that's an awkward Molotov. Just burnt the tree.
A bit surprised actually to see Grayhound being this passive early on in the round, considering they know they're up against a double op setup. Very unlikely that you're going to find them too far forward. Like if it's not by Fountain, having a solo op strolling out from long is not necessarily the most common play. Nonetheless, though, bathroom control has been gained. Also a position where they can actually set up for all these smokes for an A execute. As you can see Dexter and Sicko lining up. Oh, Jira slipping a bit at the wheel there. Marcus is allowed to survive, so both ops on the A bomb site here. They need to come up big to hold this off.
25 seconds again, though, taking their sweet time to get on the site. Flashbangs being tossed in over and over again. Dick Stacy only able to get the one entry. Sterling's holding the line with 3, make it 4 kills. Single-handedly trying to take this away from Grayhound. They're still in this round just about, but there's the other op. 4K for Sterling. Jira finishes off. They're right back in this game.
Well, I'd love to see it. Yeah, we're getting some America's vibes here from the Avant side. Grayhound been surprisingly quiet. There was a bit of shouting from Neil M after the pistol round, but after that, it's been quiet from the favorites here. And yeah, Sterling definitely showcasing what is good for 2 no-scopes. He's hyped. Understandably so as well, as you said, has a point to prove going up against his former teammates.
Didn't quite see those last 2 shots from his perspective. That was sick. Really solid hold in the end, and now Grayhound back into Desert Eagles. They have some Kevlar behind them if they can take a couple of weapons away from the CTs. One of which may be APOC if he overextends. Can't quite get to it just yet, and they're going to be going straight in through Monster. The spray not on point. Soju will be disappointed he didn't do better from that angle. I'm not sure how that grenade didn't claim either life, just slightly behind him. And now Hazard, he's going to miss his spray. This is getting a little bit concerning. The HP vastly in favor of Avant, though. Malta just down at 13, but he has time if he wants to try and retreat. And with Jira on short, I don't think he's going to realize this just yet.
Well, this has gotten very expensive for Avant very quickly. Still, though, done such a good job on their way back here to keep players alive. So you can see Jira sitting at 9.1K still. Oh, easy. Not going to be expecting that. Malta with the upper hand, 1v1, and a whole lot of ground to be covered from Sterling alone. And I guess this is where the downside of having an op really comes into play. Malta's on 13 HP, but that doesn't really affect him going up against an op. So
Exactly.
just the fact that he doesn't have any sort of Kevlar either. Oh. Walks into the angle. Kind of hoping that Sterling, I guess, wouldn't be anywhere around. Potentially checking over towards that A-bomb site. Not to be the case. 6-6. So we have a game on our hand.
Certainly do. If there's one player who won that situation, it was Sterling. He's 16-6 right now. Seemingly can't miss with the AWP. It was a great effort by Malta, though, and that was a really solid round overall from Grayhound Gaming. They just had pistols, and they nearly took it. It's going to deplete quite a lot of those funds on the CT side, but they still, of course, have enough to buy whatever happens here.
Now, 3-man defense and a bit more of a forward positioning from Sterling here. He's been spotted out by Stacy. Still, though, favored trades, very favored for Avant. Yeah, the first aggression coming out of long is going to work out swimmingly for them. All of a sudden, it's Dexter alone over towards his beat. I mean, it doesn't really matter what he's able to conjure up here. Bomb still down over towards the playground. It's in full control of Avant. Not even going to net the frag. So, from 6-1 to 6-7.
The first time they're in the lead. What a time to take over towards the latter half of the first half of the best of 3.
Great job there from APOC to hold control over Underpass. And Soju hyped as ever.
So a half by coming to the forefront will include an AK-47 on the inform Malta. Still only 7-12 with 60 ADR, but he's had a couple of big moments on Overpass. They've been very slow, I've noticed, Grayhound, though. Time and time again, they've been executing with 10, 15, 20 seconds left. Maybe changing up the pace could catch the CTs off guard.
Paying a lot of respects to the op setups out of Avant. Well, obviously, they have pretty candid information as to how Sterling likes to play, and that's probably why.
Yeah, it was interesting as well in the interview before the first match of today. Dick Stacey said that they needed an AWPer that was more aggressive. That's one of the kind of deciding factors as to why Sterling is no longer in the roster. Well, it seems to me he's been pretty damn aggressive so far in this game.
He's definitely picking his spots.
Flashbangs being exchanged between the two teams. It's going to be favoring Hazard. Triple spray, double headshot at the end. Goes back in for more. It's going to cost him his life, but it's another round. 7 in a row now. Avant 8-6 in the lead. What a turnaround this has been.
Yeah. Soju as well. I'm not sure if you noticed, but instead of giving the classic daps, he's just like grabbing fists.
Yeah, in the first map, he did this thing after they, I think, pulled a clutch where he got 2 or 3 kills, and he literally just held his 2 teammates' fists just for like 5 seconds. It was so awkward.
Kumbaya moment.
But they were all laughing, so obviously having a good time.
Yeah, I feel like it's that's his thing.
Sure.
Well, if holding hands grants his teammates special powers, then by all means, now's the time to fully take the advantage of that. Grayhound again, passive setup. Might be setting up for a double nade here, which could be pretty detrimental to that boost. See how long they sit around for there. But yeah, for a team that got rid of Sterling because apparently he wasn't aggressive enough, they sure are taking pretty hefty precautions in terms of avoiding aggressive play here out of the A-bomb site. Always posting up in playground. Contact's got to be over towards B, though. Is Jared going to find the drop? No, it's going to be Dexter to win out the duel. So for the first time in quite a while, Grayhound get a man advantage.
Solid wall bang by Apoc. Know exactly where Dexter were. Molotov just to make sure that Short isn't aggressed on as of yet. And Soju going to be called into action as Malta wants to claim him. Molotov to Barrels is going to force him out, but there was a smoke deployed to allow him safe passage back into water. Apoc tries to go back in, but there's so many flashes and smokes connecting on the site now. It's getting a bit chaotic. Soju's going to try and make the most of this. He's hiding the smoke in between 4 players, but finally Sicko susses him out and deals with him accordingly. Looks like Grayhound may put an end to the curse, the streak of rounds that have gone to Avant, but it still will make them 8-7 behind at halftime. It could have been so much better. Sterling is still alive though, and you can't write him off the way he's been playing. 18-6, 123 ADR.
Needs to get a bit of a move on. He's got 4 players to find and a bomb to defuse.
Sure. Got to take the initiative. Can't afford to just sit back and wait. Going to be double peaked.
Yeah,
and will be going down. Yep, just far too many bullets to deal with. 8-7 though. A great turnaround by Avant after it was looking like it would just snowball out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty nervous for Avant there, looking at the 6-1 scoreline. Grayhound just seemingly winning rounds as they pleased, but definitely got a match on our hands. So we got to take a quick commercial break, but do not go anywhere as we'll be back to conclude the first map of the Overpass.
Avant still find themselves just narrowly ahead after their CT half, and the harder half you'd have to think is on the horizon Vendetta. So even though Grayhound will be bitterly disappointed with how that half went, they're still in a very good position.
Absolutely so. I mean, the only thing that's going to be in the back of their head is that what could have been, right?
Sure.
And again, once you have the opportunity, you want to be able to close out your opponents as quickly as possible and just kind of go about your business as usual. But yeah, it seems like somebody wanted a bit of a saying in that, and that's why we find ourselves at 8-7 at the current stage. But yeah, Grayhound going into the CT side, still feeling pretty favored, all things considered. This is Greyhound's map pick after all.
The other aspect of that as well, even though Sterling was playing aggressive, it's a whole different ball game playing AWP on T side as opposed to CT side. Will he have the same level of impact? Because he was a massive reason for why they did so well. Aggression early on from Avant. They're pushing straight out of connector into bathroom, where Grayhound were residing just a few moments ago, but they've been forced back. A lot of the slack is going to need to be picked up by Sicko, who's playing the close range with the USP. He's going to claim the first kill of the second half, and Dexter chimes in straight afterwards. Excellent start on the side of Grayhound.
Exactly what they needed as well. No return frag at all, and not really any damage taken to speak of. Dexter 21 HP off of his nameplate, but you can live with that. Now Avant just left with 3 players, smoke and a Molotov on Jira. Actually still going to venture over towards the Z-bomb side. Question is how they want to use the utility, or if they're going to have a shot to do so at all. Actually, well, might not even need to.
Oh.
All right, then.
Dick Stacy perched up on the dumpster, gives him a better angle for shooting at the flower bed. Jira lays him to rest. 1-on-2, being tagged up from the backside, and Malta greets him from the dumpster. So second pistol, and indeed both pistols going to go the way of Grayhound.
Yep. Now, keep in mind, first half, they did 1 pistol, as you said, but ran him right into a bit of a nasty surprise with Avant's 4 spot. We'll say it feels like it's going to be a bit of a tougher challenge to win it out on the T side, but we'll see the investment nonetheless. Scout on Sterling, 3 Deagles on ZZ on Soju. Again, it's a little bit surprised by how many SMGs we're seeing out of Grayhound. It's like what we've seen out of the European miner, the Americas miner, has oftentimes been limited to 2 to 3 SMGs, and then at that point you have rifles to back it up. Not as often a scout, not necessarily for Moss either, but nonetheless, the firepower is definitely very much in the favor of Grayhound.
Sure, and also when you dip down to the SMGs, it affords you the luxury of more grenades. So you can cordon off areas for longer with smokes and flashes. Maybe a read for Avant to play aggro. They have 3 smokes at their disposal for a set play. And there's the first tag. Soju going to feel the pain.
Lead follow-up, not really doing a whole lot. Dexter might get caught out here. Yep, throws down a smoke and down he goes. So whatever utility he had to his name is not going to do him any sort of good.
Desperation play. At least throwing the smoke down does stop that push. You can see it was closing off one of the angles. Dick Stacy takes
16 points of health, 16 points of
box.
damage. Oh, well then, rampaging ZZ from Soju. Find Urkus, and that's bomb going down as well. It's being able to find some return frags here.
Malta can't stop the bomb from being planted, but it's doing a lot of damage and keeping eyes focused on his position, allowing Sicko to step up with the USP, and APOC runs out of bullets. 7 not enough. But that is a collective sigh of relief. Lightning nearly struck twice.
Yeah, and this time Avant gets a bomb plant as well, so they could potentially force behind this. They could get a pretty decent buy compared to what the CTs can reinvest into. It's going to be interesting to see if they want to play that economic game of chicken here. Malta doing so much work as the bomb gets planted.
Yeah, he was being such a pain in the backside and being so mobile that Sicko was allowed to walk up the right side past Graffiti and get the crossfire established. Up until that point, it was looking really rocky, actually. Like, that Avant was going to take it outright. So, big plays, big moment in the match, potentially, and Avant have a lot of decisions to make. Do they want to keep going in for this? with the bomb plant, it does give them a few options.
There's a definite chance. But I mean, depending on how you feel about your T side, right? Both of these teams, on average, have better CT sides than they do T sides. You might want to go in for it. Yeah, we can see that as well. 2 AKs, Galil, 2 Mac 10s, but a whole lot of utility on those players as well. This is definitely something you can work with if you're Avant here.
Ouch.
8 to the face of Sterling. Soju's taking some damage as well. I mean, for all the utility that was around actually on Avant, Soju spent it all. That weakens any sort of execute that they wanted to go, but they've grouped up towards long here, so they might not need a whole lot of it in the first place. Jared's going to find the first opening. That's massive.
Spitting Incendiary as well is going to force them to take damage if they want to funnel out, but they're a little bit late. It was Sicko who only had a scout, no automatic weapon. Not able to just spray through on long, which is an ideal play. And as it stands, Greyhounds may just have to save. So this is Avant, up close, personal, playing aggro, ruthlessly aggressive. And seeming like they're going to reap the rewards.
That's just very smart game plan from Avant as well. So you had 2 players with a lot of utility. Soju spends that, well, his part of the utility on the side of Avant just to create distractions over towards speed. It nets him actually enough space to get on top of the bomb site, prevents any sort of early rotations, and meanwhile, Avant realizing that they have a limited amount to work with, funnel the entirety of their 4-man squad through long. Obviously, very few avenues that you need to corner off from that kind of an angle, and they do so with the utility at their disposal. Very well done. And Jira with opening frags, not just in-game leading and making correct calls. Sicko not too happy. There we go, okay. So with the 2 saved weapons, we'll see if Grayhound can actually bounce back. We saw it in the first half. They were able to respond to a bit of a sucker punch that they got. I like this approach from Avant, though. Whenever you think you're going up against a weaker buy, just find the distances. That's what they've done.
You could see the disappointment in Sicko's face after that last round. Understandably, he suddenly became the last line of defense for the scout, and all that pressure was mounted, but he is going to make a move around the back of them. How many kills can he get, if any? This is where the Desert Eagle can be a real nightmare. He's got 1, and he's funneled some aggression and attention towards his position, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the round outright, although Dexter playing sneakily behind the smoke and Molotov. It hasn't spread to him. This may force him into a false sense of security. Gonna try and stop the bomb from being planted. Does damage, but can't reap the kill. And Urcast with a UMP at this range, not ideal. Not tailor-made. Gonna flash over. Does have a smoke as well, but doesn't have a kit. Maybe he can draw some of these terrorists out into the open and have a real go of this. There's the first. He's got an AK-47 now that he can pick up, and a Molotov. This is starting to get a bit more interesting. But APOC is going to close the door in Urcast's face, and Avant will take the lead again.
All right, then. 10-9, and whatever woes they've had in their previous games on Overpass on the T side, not really seeming to be an issue as of right now. 19 frags on Sterling. Jira, APOC, 16 each. Contributions are there all around, really, on the side of Avant. Tempo's there as well. Full pistols on the side of Grayhound, and Avant not really caring too much for map control in this one. Not too scared about running into a potential stack, and luckily for them, they're going to run into free open B site.
5-man wrecking crew going to be moving through on the T side, but of course with no Kevlar, someone is going to have their stats padded hard, and it may be Sterling. Not as if he needs them. He's already on 19 kills and 96.5 ADR, but they're going to be setting up for a potential exit frag in 4 very separate angles. So it actually could be Sterling who's going down here in an AK trading hands. You can understand why Grayhound are going for this play. As he called this, grenade's going to go over, not going to affect anybody. And that's all Also going to alert Grayhound to their presence. Flashbang, send the MAC-10 in first. USP's all rattled ahead. And now Sterling's going to wait idly by with his AK-47, and he will pad his stats after all.
Just sacrifice the teammate, get a couple of kills, all in a day's work. Now then, this is getting into a bit of a dangerous territory, yeah. GG.bet starting to believe a little bit more in Avant. Avant's starting to slide back towards their favors. Grayhound, they need to get going here on their CT side. Hop out on Sicko. Still no op in play for Avant.
This was the choice of Grayhound as well, Ven. So
Yeah.
that's going to be adding a little bit more stress and pressure to their shoulders.
Soju getting wallbanged for 3 HP. Well, scratch that, make it 8.
So Hazza was destructive and devastating with the SG on Dust 2 in our prior map. Grayhound need to respect that prowess. Meanwhile, Malta, who was playing up close, going to start to pull back a little bit. And in that, APOC is going to pick up the slack. He's going to start to move in. Molotov down to barrels. Doesn't have to worry about that angle anymore. Avant turning the screws over on the B side. Needs someone to alleviate this mounting pressure now from Grayhound. More grenades firing in. Now the Molotov is cleared. Malta can regain what was once theirs on the barrels.
Look at this, though. The rotation coming out back towards Fountain here. That's where the bomb's going to find themselves. So Avant's just going to sit still on B for the time being. Now they just need to deal with Dexter before APOC can really pounce over towards B to try to sell the fake. So 1-for-1 trade. You can live with that if you're Avant.
30 seconds, though. Just under 30 seconds. They're now starting to make a move. They're now getting entries onto the side. I think Urkas was spotted. Hasn't been fragged, hasn't been dealt with. That's a big thorn in the backside that's going to go with him. 15 seconds for Hazard to try and reclaim the bomb and make something happen. Maybe able to get the plant. No one's from the short side. 2v1. SG in hand. There's Dick Stacy with the M4. So Grayhound Gaming going to bring us back to another one-round deficit and take 2 very powerful guns into the next round. However, their economy across the board, apart from these 2, is not very strong at all.
It really isn't. It's going to be tough for Ebuy, actually, in order to mount a defense for the next one. I still like the strategy coming out from Avant as well. I think they could have toyed with the idea of putting a little bit more pressure over towards A. Not necessarily with the bomb, but with one of the 2 players over towards that side of the map. Just to see if they can force a rotation from Grayhound. But yeah, cool idea to just station 2 other players over towards the bottom side of Monster inside the site.
Really getting into the pivotal rounds now that can dictate who takes this map and makes it theirs. Dick Stacy with a wall bang. Going to break the deadlock in round 22.
This time doing significantly more than just 8 damage. Door's been blown up as well to move some of the damage padding that would have been there otherwise. Sicko's in a far poor position as well here over towards long. For the time being, he's going to actually fall back as I say that. That would have been an early warning, at least, for Grayhound. That it's going to be Sterling getting free passage for the time being. He's all by his lonesome as well, so we'll see if this is actually going to sell anything for them. Oh, Urkas drops down from his angle a little bit too soon. Doesn't even get the frag onto APOC. Even though he's heavily tagged, still alive.
Stacy playing 2 forward from that angle, shows himself. Malta needs to repel. They have Dexter and Sicko also coming in. Big kill from Malta. He can now reposition in the water side. As nades are raining down, has been chunked to 59. He's looking to try and clobber back onto the site. See if he can stop the pillage from coming into fruition. Jira lands the headshot, but it's going to be an even trade. It's all falling to Sterling. It's an AWP battle post-plant. And he's going to use this opportunity to relocate onto short. Sicko doesn't have a kit or any nades. No chance to smoke this off and force and impose his will. Now picks up the kit. Sterling's not falling for it, though.
Might need to step it again.
He does. Sterling going to come out into the open. He saw the barrel of the gun around the corner. Sterling peeks one too many times. And Grayhound Gaming going to bring us back to equality. Big clutch from Sicko.
Ice cold to not fire on the first barrel spot there. Just trying to go for a wild wall bang. Forces Sterling to go wide. Was able to play with the time, but they picked up Kit. And there you see Dick Stacy. Having opened up the door just allows him to do so much more damage.
Always makes it more dramatic when you see it from the corpse's angle as well, just so you can have that salt rubbed in. That'd be pretty salty if I died there, to be fair.
Yeah, it's never a fun feeling, especially when you survived so easily the last time you saw it attempted, right?
Yeah.
It's actually going to be Grayhound to call for a pause as well, even though they won the round. But again, they constantly live in the fear of the rebuy from Avant, not being able to survive with more players. I mean, previous round goes down to 1v1. Before that, just 2 players surviving. That really is the big key. Still, Grayhound winning out the most rounds on the second half so far, being on the CT side, and away we go again. No op on the side of Avant. Sterling's gonna have to deal with an AK-47.
We're into connector again. I'm going to try and take the center of the map and control it, which is obviously a linchpin of the map. Certainly a fulcrum point. Allows you to rotate between the sides seamlessly. Dexter, been in this position a couple of times already. They may not anticipate another time around. That's the bomb that's gone with APOC, which Dexter definitely spotted. They're going to go backhand to it. He's doing so much damage alone. Nearly 300 damage in this round from his hand, putting Hazard and Sterling down to around 20 HP apiece. And Hazard's been finished off when Sicko. Looks like the tactical timeout is going to work a charm.
That's brutal for Avant, especially considering their economy. Sure, they're working with a bit of a loss bonus. They are on the T side, but this would have been such a prime opportunity for them to break the economy of Grayhound. They could still do some significant damage here, Sterling, with a bomb thrown over utility to make sure that CTs are kept at bay, but it's not going to work out with a failed molly. Dick Stacy with 2 kills.
Yeah, you nailed it. That failed Molotov actually really hurt them because they thought it connected, so he felt like he was comfortable across.
Yeah.
Wasn't the case. Not that it may have ended up mattering a great deal anyway, as it was so heavily stacked against them, but Grayhound into a bit of a win streak of their own, and now it's the time of Avant to call a tactical timeout and figure out what to do next.
The question is, again, money's not really on their side anymore. Didn't get a bomb plant either. So I think I opt to buy into this in hopes that the CT side economy is still going to be weak enough to where they can end up with a bit of a 2-for-1 situation. It's going to have to be, well, primarily Galils that they do it with if they want to get rifles. But thinking long-term here on the T side and just going to opt with pistols. So half investment on their end. A couple of light Kevlars picked up. And I mean, if they can connect with a couple of solid Deagle shots, there is potential. Picking up a weapon, you can do a lot of damage with it, not having to deal with the aim punch of it all. I also have a smoke too.
Sure, and I mean, we've already seen that these kind of buys have got them very close to claiming rounds when even doing it. They're just going to go straight in. They're not messing about whatsoever. It's going to backfire pretty hard. Walking into the assault rifle, spray Urcast with the AK-47. Going to clean up what remains. Jira's giving his position away, and he will be laid to rest. 2-round lead opening up. Feels like that's the first time in a while now that Grayhound have had a bit of air between the two of them.
Yeah, and they kind of need that breathing room as well. Avant's been close on their heel the entire game after that initial start, once they started to bounce back a little bit. It's going to be another buy, though, for Avant. That's due to the limited investment they did in the previous one. So it's not like Grayhound can feel completely safe at this stage either. Sicko is sitting on a fair bit of cash. Same thing with Dexter, but 3 other players not too hot. Tempo initially going to be really quick out of APOC. Up on short. Might actually catch Malta unaware.
Malta doesn't have an incendiary either. Oh, APOC going to charge straight out. It's actually Urkas heavily flashed that does the damage. Able to jump back into sandbags. There'll be 2 Molotovs, though, stacked on him. He never stood a chance, but Malta's using this opportunity to stay in position, to bide his time. Like a coil viper ready to strike, and strike. He tried to switch too early. It's not going to cost his team too heavily, though, because they're still going to pick up the rest, but we've all been there. You think you've put enough bullets in, you switch and realize, oh, he's still alive, 1 HP.
Yeah.
FML.
That's a rough feeling. Right now, it's slowly slipping away from Avant. They put up such a strong fight early on. Might not be enough, though. Again, this is Grayhound's map pick, so you would assume that they do have it under control once it comes down to it. But it hasn't been easy by any means. Now we're going to see. Actually, not even a full investment from the entirety of the team. Has it still could have bought up with a Galil. Tempo's definitely going to be there. Okay, Urkas a little bit labored at the start, but finds the second one as well. Connects with the third with the USP, and Malta's there as reinsurance.
Yeah, 3 kills there is exceptional work by Urkas. 15-11, starting to open it back up again. 4 map points on their choice of map. Here's the Urkas play. Just spins around, knows exactly what's coming up. It does seem that Avant have run out of ideas, though, Vendetta. I mean, we've seen in these last 3 or 4 rounds, they've just gone super aggressive on B side. Like, not really any nuance to their play, just rushing it.
Yeah, it might be off the back of limited utility or just feeling that they have a bit of a go at it, right? Like, they might just not be getting the trades that they need, but the execution is there. So they fall in for the trap of feeling like they're onto something. Early spray duel is going to be won out by APOC. Does 57 points of damage to Urkas, but elsewhere on the map, Has is taking damage. Same thing for Soju and Underpass. Dexter just slowly creeping away here. This time it's Sicko in a familiar position. I'd have to imagine Avant are wary of it. Yeah, Soju is, but it's not going to be quick enough to dodge the bullet coming in from Sicko.
Impressive shot, but Jira's up to the task. He will disintegrate Sicko's head with the AK-47. Is it going to be enough, though, to yield Avant more rounds here on Overpass, or will Dexter pose too much of a threat? Yes, he will. It's a good flashbang by Dick Stacy. Did hit Dexter, but not fully. So he had the advantage coming around the corner. Jira has been silenced for what could be the last time of this map.
Now all the utility have is on Haza as well, so need to make the most out of it. Molotov's about to fly out as well. To win out the initial trade, but they might not be expecting Molotov to pop up here as well. Smoke's going to cover him, though, and he actually gets picked off. Dick Stacy somehow ran into his own death. Really committed to the duel there. Sterling down to 15 HP, so pretty much equal in terms of full health, but the positioning lies with Avant. So they bring it back there. Just barely. I mean, off of the opening picks that we saw out of Grayhound, you would have expected them to be able to hold on. Seems like Malta just not finding quite the angle there from the water position at the edge of the site. If he's able to find at least one out of the 2 players coming up from short, one of them obviously being heavily tagged up as well, that could have been it.
So the plot thickens. Avant not ready to bow out of this map just yet. Haza, leave Molotov out. Can't afford to pass just yet. And I believe the grenade was used to explode the door. And we saw Dick Stacy get a kill with a wall bang from this very position earlier. This time Avant not walking into that trap. Malta, so aggressive outside Monster. We've not seen them go for this play yet. Also, the bomb is dropped back on the T side. Has this being blocked from his teammates. He's going to take nearly 50% of his health in damage. And as a result of that, Malta's also able to just dart back into Monster. What a cheeky play. The great escape from Malta. Doesn't even take a point of damage.
It's all gotten a bit chaotic for Avant here. Lost track of where people are. Now they might actually have to expect Malta to be hanging around somewhere in T-spawn. Oh. Seems like they've come to terms with the fact that Malta has disappeared.
Yeah, they know he was here because they can see the MP9 on the ground as opposed to the AK. So it's the final clue they needed. So it's eating valuable time just to make sure all these angles are covered because for all they know, Malta is about to spring on them. Now going to go back into connector, courtesy of Sterling. He's going to take point, and he's not had the same level of impact. I think he finished the first half on 19 or 20 kills. He's now on 24. Again, it's just a vastly different ball game when you're on the T side as opposed to CT with the AWP, and you're very comfortable at the back of A, waiting for the enemy to come to you. Speaking of which, 16 seconds remain. Avant have got to push in. Molotovs and smokes being exchanged, and Sicko will not be getting the quick flick. Dexter holds the line strong with the M4, and the first map, Grayhound's choice, will go to them. There were a few moments though, Ven, we weren't so sure that would be the case.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Avant putting up a solid fight there on Greyhound's map pick, but in the end, experience trumps. But that definitely could have swung. I mean, keep in mind, Greyhound won both pistols on their own map pick, and they really had to fight for it.
Yeah, well, most